Greetings, all you Jackson Jennets. You know what time it is. It's time for your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. Brought to you by your host, the one and only Viking Donkey. And since football was back, you know that means Gingy has to be back too. Gingy, how you doing?
Woo! Football's back. Oh, I got to see the Steelers suit up and take the field. Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition, donkey. It's that time of year again. We're 1 month away from the regular season. Oh my, talk.
And this season starts off like every season since 2000 with, the Cowboys losing on national television.
Woo! Go Cowboys. All right.
I mean,
Yeah.
is there a worse fan base to be a fan of right now other than a team that you're like, it's just not going to end well for you?
New York Jets, perhaps.
Yeah, but they're kind of brought into accepting it by now. Like, the Cowboys fans still don't accept it. They still come into every year with, "We them boys! We them boys!" And go out every year like, "We them girls!" Like, at least you got some cheerleaders going on for you, I guess. I've been a Steelers fan my whole life, so I don't know what that feels like.
True. No, donkey. Glad to be back. Ready to talk some Steelers, my man.
Oh, yeah. Hey, well, favorite moment of Hall of Fame weekend has to be what? The 10,000 Steelers getting introduced? I mean, take your pick which one you like the best.
Oh, man. Yeah, we could use a couple of them on the lineup right now. Ones I like the best, obviously your top three, your name grabbers, donkey. You need Alan Faneca, proper due respect.
By the way, dude's skinny now. Just saying.
Bill Cowher, proper due respect. And the one and only Troy Polamalu. My goodness, donkey. Starting to make me feel old, though, man.
How'd you not do respect like the classic Steelers? You're not a Bill Nunn fan? I mean, look at he brought into the Steelers nation.
We're gonna throw a clap
no
out.
Shell love?
I was going to say
no
Donnie
Shell love?
Donnie Shell. Clap for Donnie Shell, of course, donkey. Okay, There's a lot of names out there, donkey. What is there now? 9 of the 9... No, I mean, from that Super Bowl era team in the 70s that all played together, there was 9 dudes on that unit now who are now in the Hall of Fame. Insanity.
That's a hell of a team. It's just like that, too. It's like our last couple Super Bowl runs. You're seeing all those guys start to get in now. Hopefully a few of them get the classic era love like some of the Steelers have who are deserving of it, like Shell and all of them out there. I mean, it's a great team with a great legacy that wins a lot of football games. Of course, we should be putting 25 plus players or people in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it just is. And this was the year of both Steelers, Cowboys, great dominant teams, great dominant franchises meeting off in the backup of backup games, because let's be honest, when you get the extra preseason game, you really, really run out a bunch of backups. So, I'm not sure I'm taking much from this game. There were players you could look at and make a little bit of, hey, how did they do? Were they what we expected? But you're talking, when you get to the game that was on the field and not the legacy of these players, ugly football is the best way to describe what we saw out there.
I mean, those were two teams that look like they've, practiced a couple weeks, maybe suited up 5 or 6 times, and that's what you got.
It is what you got, but I had to say, watching some of the big-time receivers that I grew up loving get into the Hall of Fame was fun. Bruce Megatron, just saying.
Oh, for sure. Oh, there was a lot of good inductees in there this weekend.
I know, it was... Well, to be fair, it's hard to be a bad inductee, I guess. They don't really let those guys in.
Well,
You're not going to see... You're not going to see Jordan Berry in the Hall of Fame anytime soon.
I'm just talking about, guys I like showing a lot of love to, too. I mean, John Lynch, let's go.
Oh, my God. As a Buccaneer fan growing up, I loved me some John Lynch.
Yeah,
Buccaneer Steelers fan, I guess I should clarify so everyone's like, oh, you hated the Steelers. I never hated the Steelers, but for a while in my life, Buccaneers were definitely number one. Not for like the past 20 years, but for a while.
True. I remember those days, Donkey.
Can't blame me. My first jersey was a Warwick Dunn jersey. Loved it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with
I
Warwick
named
Dunn.
Jordan Berry for a reason, because hopefully his time here is limited, because we got to see Harvey, a big fat punter, go out there and show you what a good punter looks like. I mean, that ball down at the 1 yard line. Who doesn't love them a fat punter that can down a ball at the 1 yard line?
Donkey, we'll say it on air. You know, I sent you a text as soon as I seen that ball drop, Donkey. That was a banger of a punt. That's the most exceptional thing I've seen all night. This boy takes that ball and he heaves it. And I swear to God, Donkey, it lands on the half-yard line. Bounces straight up in the air. No one is still around. Punt coverage is terrible. No one in sight. No within 10 yards of this ball yet. Falls, bounces straight up in the air again. And one of our special teams guy down there looked like he nearly botched it at the end zone, but
yeah, that's a Danny Smith coach special teams moment if I ever saw it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's a near botch from what I saw, but oh my God, I was roaring. Donkey, over a punter.
Yeah,
because there wasn't much to roar about on offense.
Before we get too into the game, I want to talk to you about a couple big headlines. Let's start. Steelers getting reported by Scheffler, the biggest clickbait media, doesn't actually do his research guy out there, that James Washington once traded, and then the next day it's just absolutely denied by like everyone involved. I guess James Washington hasn't came out and denied it yet, which maybe you could say something about it, but all the Steelers beat writers, all the Steelers front office, all the Steelers coaches are like, we were never told he wanted a trade. So Scheffler making up more stories to get some clickbaits, because that's what ESPN's about now. We don't want to tell you anything that's actually happening. We just want to get you to click on our article so we get some advertising money. Should anyone at this point consider ESPN to be worth the reading if you're seriously into sports? Like, should you even consider them at this point?
Well, Donkey, I don't know. I think that you should you should consider Daily Dose of Donkey with Ginger for your Steelers news moving forward, okay? Because I don't know about all that. I don't want to lose James Washington. I know that. I hope that the reports are indeed not true, and that he's hopefully content. Because they talk about his role on the team, Donkey. And can we talk about his role on the team for a second?
Underutilized.
I would love to also echo that sentiment of underutilized, okay? Because, granted, I don't think that he has... Okay, out of our wide receivers, Juju, Claypool, Deontay, Washington. Those are the bangers, right? There's other guys out there, but those are the bangers. Mm-hmm. Probably the least physically gifted individual.
On par with Juju. I'd say on par with Juju, but yeah, I get your point.
Donkey. This man is clutch. All right?
Has the best hands of the group.
And if I see Deontay continue to stone hands this thing. Now, granted, Deontay got the first ball of the season. Mason led it to him right from the rip, okay?
It was the first good screen pass in 5 years from anybody wearing a Steelers jersey. I didn't know what to do. I was confused.
And so we're not going to start bashing on Deontay just yet, okay? But, Donkey, memories of last year haunt my dreams with all this.
Oh, my God.
Okay? And if he starts down this path again, Donkey, I 100% am going to get on the James Washington train, because that dude, big third down catches, clutch guy, fights for the ball, wants it.
Strong at the point of attack for sure. And I understand why he would ask for a trade here. He's going right into the first time free agency after this year. You don't want to be buried as the fourth receiver going into that. You want to have a chance to prove yourself a little bit. So if the rumors are true, I totally get it. I hope it isn't. I'd love him to stay, but I understand where he's coming from there.
I would too. And like I said, I think that his role with the Steelers ought to be altered a little bit moving forward.
I agree with you, but if the Steelers are going to become more of a running football team, I understand what James Washington's saying, because that means he's less likely to see the field. I get it. When I heard it, it didn't surprise me, and then when I heard that Scheffler just kind of made it up, it also didn't surprise me, I guess I'll say. So we'll see about that. We'll see what's happening there. Big news out of Indianapolis is Carson Wentz is going to miss a couple months, and that could be huge news for the Steelers because that is a team that very well could be in the wild card race for us. So any team that has that potential, missing their quarterback for a few weeks, obviously going to be good for us.
Huge donkey.
Also, one last Steeler news, and I hate it. Rooney comes out and says, Ben will be our quarterback as long as Ben wants to be our quarterback. Dude, suck my balls. That is such a terrible sentiment. That is just a fucking terrible sentiment.
Well,
like, that's loser talk right there. And I don't mean this in any other way than that is literally loser talk.
Donkey, let me ask you this, though. Does that really surprise you?
No, this goes back. Remember, we had a fun conversation about this at the end of the last year. How should we consider a quarterback ending his career? Should we just be grateful to watch him play as long as he wants? If that is the case, then that's cool. But the Steelers said they're about winning championships, and they reaffirmed that this offseason. If that's the case, then you can't have loser talk of just living out the golden years. You have to be cutthroat. And that's not a cutthroat statement. That's loser talk. So the Steelers need to stop sending mixed messages. If you want me to just enjoy watching the end of a Hall of Fame career, tell me that. Drop the price of your tickets by 25% until you field the roster that's going to be competitive again. That's all I ask.
Yeah, good luck with that, donkey.
Yeah,
Ben Roethlisberger still puts people in those seats.
He still sells jerseys.
Yes, I was going to say. And we had a very spirited discussion about team revenue last year as well, especially when it came to Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yep.
And
no one in the world saw him being the guy to get re-signed.
And look where he's at.
Yeah.
Yes.
He sells more jerseys than Bud Dupree. There is no doubt about that.
Listen, though. Get yourself a Presley Harvard jersey. All right. That boy's banging.
I need a new one because I don't have a current Steeler. I'm just saying he makes the team. He probably gets to buy. And that's all I'm going to say because I love me a fat punter. I'm also saying, hey, my youngest boy needs a football jersey. He's been asking for one. Just saying.
Aside from
rocking out some special teams.
Aside from the fat punter talk, you know what I mean, Donkey? That's a 7th round guy. And if there's one thing, again, that the Steelers could possibly need quite a bit of this season, it would be good punting.
Do you remember the year, was it Miller was our punter, where everyone's like, this dude should get the team MVP because he had to punt so often and he did so good at pinning other teams because our offense was fucking balls terrible in the late 90s? Was it Miller? Was that the right guy?
I still feel that way because, yeah, I believe it was. MVP. MVP season.
MVP to a punter. All right. Any articles, newsworthy stuff you saw out there this week, Gingy?
You already covered it, Donkey. That Carson Wentz deal, 5 to 12 weeks over there, is going to be a huge deal. And who do they even got? I mean,
I don't know who their backup is.
I mean, I just can't believe that situation went down like that. Brissett was so good in that backup role there. Why would you ever dump him?
I don't think he wanted to be there.
I see.
That seems more like a he didn't want to be there type of move. Oh, speaking of quarterbacks, Josh Allen getting paid like 6 years, $256. That's an AAV of about $41 million a year. Bro, get that money. Like 156 guaranteed too. Get that money. If anyone deserved it after the year they had last year, was that kid.
Bada bang, Donkey. That's a huge payday.
Oh, yeah, it is, dude. I will take literally 1% of that. And I will be.
True.
Oh, geez, that's a good one. But do you want to get to the sloppy football game? I know you were a lot more excited about some people than I was, so I will let you start it out. Let's call it how do you want to cover it? Do you want to cover it unit by unit, or do you just want to go good, bad, ugly type of stuff?
I like good, bad, ugly.
All right, let's start with your good.
I had some good things that I saw coming out of this game. You know me, Donkey. I do like a good defense, and I saw some pressure on the quarterback. It's one of my favorite things in the whole world. We got Cassius Marsh.
4 sacks was nice.
Marsh in there with a strip sack. Highsmith looking strong, rushing the quarterback. really positive, because that is what is going to keep that world turning over there on that defensive side of the ball. All right.
I'll give you the 4 sacks were nice. The only problem I saw with it, and this is just being nitpicky, was every one of them was more or less a coverage sack. Because if you watch, especially Highsmith was the biggest example of it. It's a 3-step drop. The offensive tackle just drops back and gives you a straight path through the inside because he knows it'll take too long for you to get there. And then who was playing quarterback? Gilbert just holds the football. Like, dude, you can't hold the football on a 3-step drop. That's why your ass is sitting on the bench. It was nice to see the sacks happen, but you got to see why backups are backups. Let's be honest.
That's true. That is true. That's a different unit.
Seeing sacks from them is huge. That's huge. The big thing for me was Highsmith didn't get to the quarterback enough last year. Watching him put on a good spin move while it was given to him, encouraging, no doubt about it. I agree.
I was stoked. So, what do you think is good, Donkey?
The good for me is Miles Killebrew. He looked really good, took good angles, played good defense. I'm not going to talk about people like Steiner who got the interception, who really probably aren't going to make the team. I'd like to focus on guys who have a chance at making the roster. And to me, Miles Killebrew played the best game of any Steeler on the field. And to me, he needs to move down to middle linebacker. Because watching him play good from free safety is all nice and dandy, but that's not going to help us in the regular season. He needs to be playing middle linebacker because if he's going to make an impact on this roster, that's where it's going to be.
I agree with you, Donkey. I like Killebrew in that game. Better than I thought.
Way better than what I was hoping for, I'm not going to lie. And the only other good thing I really had out of the game, I don't know if you have more after this, but the last one I have is good backup quarterback play. None of them were spectacular. All of them showed, hey, we're backups for a reason, at least as of right now. And with limited reps to this point, I feel all 3 looked good. I'm not going to call any of them great. I'm not, oh my God, we should get rid of Ben right now because we have 3 studs waiting in the wings. No. But all 3 looked as serviceable backups to me. And that to me is a good sign.
A good sign. It's okay.
Having 3
I'd like to see them develop. I'd like to see them develop. One of those guys is going to have to end up coming out of this as a starter at the end of the year.
I don't know about that. You know, we could still have a good draft.
Yeah, there'll be more time for that.
Someone.
There'll be more time.
We could sign someone, but right now, what we need from them is we need a serviceable backup because let's be honest, Ben doesn't play 16 games very often.
Yeah,
we're playing 17 of them this year. Someone needs to be serviceable.
And you're right. They are getting it done. In fact, it almost leads me to my last good. And it's funny because, spoiler, Mason Rudolph makes multiple lists for me on this. Because in terms of a good...
Throws such a pretty deep ball.
There it is. The good deep ball from Mason Rudolph has to be mentioned, my friend. Most of the other passes for me... less than serviceable. You use the word serviceable, Donkey. I'm not sure what I saw out there in the short passing game was serviceable.
The underneath cross to James Washington was terrible. But how about a screen pass that led the receiver the way it was supposed to go and hit him in the hands to start the game? I haven't seen that in like 6 years. That was awesome. I don't care what you say. But yeah, the short passing's a little meh.
A little bit. In an offense that traditionally revolves around such a thing. Oof.
Agreed, but it is what it is at this point, right? We know what we're getting there. But
so yeah, the short passing
you
bad.
have to,
but for me, I'm also looking at and Donkey, we knew this was coming. That secondary has a couple weak spots in it. The whole middle of the field would be what I'm looking at.
I'll get into this. First, I'm going to start with the cornerbacks because either James Pierre or Justin Lane, are going to get some playing time this year. And both of those guys were getting turned around by 6-string receivers. The hell is that about? Okay, now that I'm done with that, all those middle linebackers you saw play, well, everyone's like, oh, it's all just backups. No, one of those dudes who played yesterday at middle linebacker at some point is going to start for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. One of them pretty much has to, and every one of them looked like you or me could beat them as a wide receiver, tight end, running back. That's not good.
No, not good at all, Donkey.
All I have to say is we better hope Devin Bush comes back, and Devin Bush is 100% the greatest coverage linebacker ever known to man.
Let's hope so. And that's going to be tough after a knee, but here's hoping.
I agree. So if we're on the bad, that was going to be the ugly for me, by the way. So we got my ugly out of the way. If we're going to talk about the bad for me was watching our stable of running backs fail to produce a single guy who averaged over 4 yards a carry. And hear me out on this, because I think Kalen Ballage might have, but he ended up getting hurt, so let's see how that goes first. But none of these guys did anything special. Samuels looked terrible, like he shouldn't even be on an NFL roster. McFarland looked slow. I'm going to be honest with you. There was a couple plays where he had a step to the outside on the linebacker, and the linebacker beat him to the sideline. If he can't outrun backup linebackers, what good is he going to be to this team in the regular season? And then we could get to Najee Harris. And Najee Harris, I'm not knocking on him because he did exactly what I thought he would do when we drafted him. I said this when we drafted him. He's not the type of guy who makes people miss. He's not the type of guy that breaks a lot of tackles. He never was in college. And if you watch this game, he does push the pile and ends runs hard, which is good to see. But he never made a single person miss. And to me, that's going to be the problem is if this offensive line doesn't give him 4 yards a carry, we're not going to see 4 yards a carry.
Yeah, and that's funny you say that. That was where my ugly was heading, Donkey. Overall, because it's not bad or it's not good. Like you said, it was what would be expected. But I certainly wouldn't describe it as pretty. Okay? It was sledding downhill. There was nobody missing. We were hitting guys. Legs were churning. I like Najee in there as a young guy doing that, But overall, it wasn't pretty. Looking at all.
What was pretty?
But
Najee Harris's vision is pretty. Najee Harris doesn't miss a hole, doesn't miss a cut. He will give you every yard that should be left there on the field. And there is something good to be said about that. I don't think he's going to be that home run, all-pro type running back, but I think given the proper circumstances, he will be a good one. Because if you watch that game, he hit the proper holes. He made the proper cuts. If you put on his college tape, it's the same thing. I just really, really, really want him to develop a home run ability in some way. Right now, it's just not there.
I agree with you, Donkey. I see it. It's not there. But preseason one, really excited to see some football.
Kalen Ballage ending with a hard running touchdown. That's always good to see in preseason one. So let's get to a couple other units because there's a couple units that weren't talked about. Receivers were kind of meh, and you saw Mapletron make a business decision to not catch a football over the middle. I like it. It's preseason football. That's a good business decision.
Yeah, I saw it happen, and it was scary. He still took a little shot there.
He did, but honestly, that's big money football. That's big money time. That's a good throw by Mason Rudolph, and that's a ball that hopefully is caught by Claypool. But preseason, that's a business decision. You don't get hit there. I don't know what to make of our 3-quarterback stable, but there's a lot of talk that we might be getting another draft pick for our 4-string quarterback again. Looks like we might be able to move Dobbs for a draft pick again. That's good to see his stock price rising. Because I doubt we keep 4 quarterbacks on the roster. So if he is number 4, and I've heard a couple teams interested, I like that. I do.
I agree. Let's make it happen.
And let's get to the defensive line here. That was a bunch of... And everyone's going to be like, well, they were only backups, so you shouldn't expect much. Yeah, but they're backups going against backups. So if they were going to showcase what they have, Thursday was the day. And I didn't see anything from any of our backups that make me feel comfortable about the depth on the defensive line. I mean, Buggs, the only thing I can say is he made a stupid decision. Davis looked blah. Mondu got pushed around, and Loudermilk just kind of stood there. None of them showed me literally anything.
I can't disagree with you there, Donkey. I didn't see anything more than you did.
The other guy I want to give a shout out to is I love 6th round outside linebacker tweener guy draft picks. It's why I like Chicolo for a long time. I liked what I saw from Roche. He looks a lot more explosive off the line than I thought he would. Watching his college tape, he was good, but in there were a couple times, first step, he's already around, let's be honest, a third string offensive tackle, so I don't know how I should judge that. But hey, he was getting around him quick, and that's something.
I'm excited to see it. I thought our defensive guys got out there and got after it, Donkey. Mondu getting pushed around.
Let's be honest here.
Mondu getting pushed around.
Watch the third quarter.
I'll check back into that.
Both of the big run plays are just Mondu's dumbass getting fucking just yoinked.
I'll check into that.
Yoinked. I am a little worried that Steelers Nation is being a little too accepting of average play, because I was reading all the winners and losers list, as people who talk about Steelers and Steelers talk should, and everyone going out there and calling Najee Harris a winner. Bro, if James Conner averaged 3.1 yards a carry in a preseason game, what would everyone be saying? Oh God, it's time to move on to another running back. I mean, come on, people. Let's at least be objective with our views. I'm not calling Najee a loser, but to call him a winner on a day where he averaged 3.1 yards a carry, bruh.
I'm just saying he got out there and got it done. I'll give him a pass on one. It's his first pro game.
I'm not calling him a loser. I said that. I think he did what you should expect. What I'm going to say is calling him a winner is a little bit... It'd be like saying Josh Dobbs was a winner because he threw a touchdown to a wide open receiver because the cornerback that was covering for Dallas clearly doesn't belong in the NFL. Like, it was a simple post route, and this mother lover ends up 7 yards away from the wide receiver. Excuse me? Sloppy football at its best.
It happens, Donkey. Like I said, these guys have been in pads.
Preseason.
What?
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. You can tell. What's the Steelers' schedule looking like moving forward? I didn't even see yet, Donkey.
The preseason or going into the regular season?
Preseason. When's the next one? Oh yeah, I know.
It should be next Sunday, right?
Should be. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. I am a person who loves those end of roster guys. I love evaluating end of roster guys. You know this because when we talk, I talk up all the things you should see from these people that no one knows about, because those are the players I love to watch. I love to watch the Quincy Roaches. I love to watch the James Pierres make the roster. I love the end of roster guys because those are the guys who can break out and just become stars that should never be stars. The Fast Willie Parkers, the James Harrisons, those type of guys to me are just, I don't know. There's something about watching them play, seeing guys who never get playing time get to put some tape on. It's fun. Oh, no, wait, our next preseason game's actually next Thursday. And we get to play the Eagles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, let's go.
That's a great wrap-up, Donkey. I'm thinking I really enjoyed that game. I'm looking forward for more to come, though. That can't be the end. Donkey, what I am saying is if that is what you're looking at, it will be a long season. I don't think that's all you're going to be looking at.
I hope our starting offensive line is better than our second-string offensive line. I will say one thing. Watching our offense not be predictable by the personnel on the field was fun. Haven't seen that in a long time. And I know it's only preseason, but still, Canada looks like he's at least, I don't know, competent, unlike Randy Fleechner. So we got that going for us. Let's hope to good things going forward. Let's hope to continued health, and let's hope to figuring out what the hell is going on with TJ Watt. Where is TJ Watt? Because I'm going to tell you something. I know everyone's like, don't be concerned. The fact that I haven't heard about TJ Watt has me concerned. Okay? He is the lifeblood of that defense.
100%. I'd like to see him out there somewhere.
Like, I'm getting nervous now. It's to the point where I'm nervous now. Where is my want? Because if the only want we have is Derek, this season is not going to look good.
That's not going to work. Trying to get a deal done with Mr. Watt, I think.
Pay him whatever the hell he wants. It's not like we have anyone else under contract the next 3 years.
Let's get it done.
For real. All right, Gingy, anything else you saw from the game, want to talk about, see going forward, any of that fun stuff?
Nope, looking forward to see more quarterback play. Continue to look at, the three guys that we got. And continue to look at that defense and figure out how it's going to shake down in that secondary. That's probably going to be, a lot of those positions on offense, I feel, at least the starter spot, are solidified. I think there's some opportunity for some guys to step up on defense, and maybe guys that you don't even know their name yet to get some real playing time.
Hey, I hope so. Well, no, I don't. Because if I don't know their name, then who are they? Do they even exist if I don't know their name?
Well, that's too deep, Donkey. I don't think we can go there. We got a different podcast for that.
Fair. All right, Gingy. You know what time it is then. Shout-outs.
Shout out. We talked about it during the meeting today, but you know what I have to shout out. And that's the best freaking punter I've seen in a long time. Put Presley Harvin out there. Get him now, because we're going to need it, and that was a heck of a punt. Shout out to Presley Harvin. Also, shout out for Hall of Fame game, Donkey, and for the Steelers greats, and for some of those guys getting a bust in Canton. You know what I don't envy? The guy who has to nail Bill Cowher's chin on that bust.
I don't envy the guy that has to nail Troy Polamalu's hair.
That's going to be interesting, too. That is going to be interesting.
Like, you want to talk about the worst year to have to bust a Steeler? Here, get them both! Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, nope, that's going to be quite difficult.
I agree with you. My first part of the shout-out is to every Steeler Hall of Famer. And I'm going to be honest with you, every Hall of Famer that got introduced there, because all of those guys deserve it. All those guys are legends in their own right. And I just managed to get stuck on nothing in my camp. That's cool. But my second shout-out has to go to a newly signed Pittsburgh Steeler by the name of Lafayette Pitts. I love when Pitt Panthers sign with the Steelers, and I know he's probably not going to make the roster. But seeing a Pitt Panther sign with the Steelers always makes me happy, so shout out to Lafayette. And Gingy, I'm going to tell them they can reach me at Viking Donkey on Xbox, Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. Leave us a comment on your Daily Dose of Donkey with Ginger. We'd love to have more people talk to us so that we can bring you in and have a third view and just have a great group conversation, because when there's three, there's better content because someone's going to pile on the other person, and that's always fun. So if you want to join us for an episode, hit us up, tell us what you want to talk about so we can prep, and you will probably more than welcome. And without further ado, we'll bring it over to Gingy to end us off.
Let's get it. Mutant Gingy on Xbox Live. We do this Weekend Warrior style, folks, but you know what? It's Steelers every day till February. Let's go, Steeler Nation. Football season is back. Wave them if you got them. Crack open them Iron Cities.
Oh my God, no.